Hey, B's and G's, main brew guy here. Just updating. It's been a real chore getting settled in down here. I've gotten some upgrades on the brewery. I did a tie pump. I also got the hop rocket. We used that a few times. Changed some fittings around a little bit on the brew rig. So I replaced the filters on the RO water system. I'm getting ready to go to a 4-tap system on my kegerator. I have been brewing a lot. I have brewed a cryo. This is it here. This is my cryo IPA, Cryo Days IPA. It was all cryo hops, including the dry hop phase. There was no regular hops used in this beer. Cryo hops are weird. I will say they don't calculate properly when you plug the alpha acids into Beersmith. I say they don't calculate properly because anytime I calculate an IBU for a beer, let's say I want to make an IPA and I want it balanced at 87 IBUs or 95 or whatever, it always comes in very mild and mellow, and I find that maybe the calculations for Beersmith might be off on the cryo hops. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if the utilization's not there, but something's not coming through. So I think that I need to come up with some sort of a formula to use the hops and the cryo hops. So I'm kind of figuring that I'm going to back off on the alpha acids by about a third from whatever it says on the package, and I'll use that when I plug them into Beersmith. Try that and see if I get what I feel I should be getting at 87 or 95 or 33 IBUs using cryo hops. So I've been experimenting a lot with cryo hops lately. My other beer is my Blonde Ale, which is probably almost done. And I also have Walking Head APA, which ended up being more hoppy, as I didn't use any cryo hops on that, and utilization was really good apparently, so that ended up coming out hoppier than my IPA. So playing around with the cryo hops is really kind of what I've been doing lately. Also, I have some footage, again, probably seeing some of it behind me here, but where I hung out with Ben and we brewed a porter, and it was kind of cool. We did, well, basically we came up with the recipe together. I crushed the grains here, I brought them with me. He had already had all the strike water in. We dumped the grains in, started stirring right away, as you can see behind us. And we hit all the numbers right out of the gate. Pre-boiled gravity, original gravity. And then when we split the wort, we were right on target for what we were expecting, which was 6 gallons apiece. We were done in the brew day, clean up everything. 4 hours. I was shocked. It was like, I don't know. I mean, I was afraid that something went wrong because it went so well. It was one of those things like, shouldn't have something gone wrong? I mean, we didn't even spill anything on the floor. It was crazy. Anyway, the big to-do about that porter is he did the porter. I mean, we capped the mash basically with all the real dark grains. We put the cherry smoked peat malt we did, and we only put in half of what you might normally do on a porter. We didn't want to overwhelm the smoky. We just wanted a hint of it. From what I've tried so far, that worked out real well. The porter, we wanted a real smooth porter. The second reason why is because I was doing a Baltic porter and he was doing a regular porter. So he did ale yeast, I think USO 4 perhaps, and then I did a lager yeast. So mine's lagering out. His should be in keg by now, but at some point we're going to do a swap and see what the subtle differences are, if there are any, between a regular porter and a Baltic porter. For those of you who don't know, Baltic porter is lagered, regular porter is just an ale yeast. So that was done. I also have brewed I brewed Josh's double red tide. So based on Josh's red tide IPA, loosely adapted to that because I scaled it up, but I didn't use, like his recipe, he used all Red X for the base malt because that was the entry in the SJ Pour Challenge, which happened to be brew a sessionable beer. And so he wanted something with a lot of malty backbone and flavor. So he added lactose, he added the Red X malt, and then maybe a splash of coffee malt. I ended up boosting that recipe up, but I left the Red X where it was on his recipe, and I just substituted some Pilsner malt or two. And I kept the lactose at the same level as his beer, and then I added a little wheat. So there's plenty of body in the beer. But the last thing that I did was I added, it was like 16 ounces of cold brew coffee in the secondary. No, sorry, take that back. I added it at flame out. I needed that residual sweetness because the coffee was adding a lot of back bitterness, more than I thought a cold brew should, because I bought a store-bought black coffee cold brew instead of making my own. Probably my mistake. It's been sitting in the garage carbonating, but not in the cooler, so I'm hoping that it kind of finishes down a little more. That's my hope anyway. But the sample I tried, I did like. I thought maybe it might be a tad too sweet, but it came out really good. The last one I have on deck that's ready to go is my kettle soured saison with mangoes added to the secondary. That had an interesting flavor to it. So hopefully that comes out well. I'll get these canned up and sent out. Also, there was another brew day where Larry came down to Fort Jackson, so I drove up to Fort Jackson and decided to hang out with Ben, Hookie Homebrew, and Larmo22, and we brewed 15 gallons, or actually 18 gallons, of a pale ale. So we collabed on the recipe and we split it 3 ways, and we're all going to dry hop with a different hop. I happen to dry hop on High Krausen. Both of them are going to dry hop in secondary, but we're all going to use different hops. Excuse me, Denali I think was what Palermo's going to use. Ben's going to use Citra, and I used HBC 431. I think that was the code name. But that's it's still in the primary behind the camera now. I'm working on my canning automation project, which I have some footage, but I'm continuing to work on it. That project I'll piece that together probably over the course of the next couple of weeks till I actually finish it and it works as advertised. I'll have some editing to do there. I think there's going to be a commemorative brew day for Paul Wicksteed that's coming up, where we're going to do Supercharger again. I think SJ is going to be putting that information out. I hope I don't usurp that information by putting this video before him, but basically I think the whole month of December would be a commemorative brew day for Paul Wicksteed. And you know, anybody wants to get on board on that, certainly put it down in the comments below, and make sure that we're doing some collaboration on Google Hangouts or some other FaceTime medium or whatever, where we can capture some of that video that's going on. We can figure out who's brewing that day and maybe do some video collabs, so we can all put up those video footages and sort of you know, tip our hat to Paul and you know, basically say, hey man, we miss you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot going on. I'm not gonna lie. I've got projects in the backyard. I'm working all kinds of crazy hours. The Army's got me busy. I'm trying to get everything done and get some videos up and just be relevant in the community. Ben, you gotta put more videos up, man. I know you're busy. Yeah, you're busy, like a busy man like I am, but you can do it. you've got a lot of great content to add. And in fact, I got the carboy rack up, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So I actually put that up, and my carboys are now up on the wall. So that's pretty cool. We learn something from everyone. Take a piece of knowledge from here and there and go, that'll work for me. Cheers, boys, and happy Homebrew Wednesday.